All right, we are going to tackle a problem that pretty much every single person has faced at some point. That cringy moment when a conversation just stops. And in this explainer, we're going to give you the tools to make sure you never run out of things to say again. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You've gone through the basics. How are you? What do you do? And then bam, silence. That feeling where your brain is just scrambling and you can tell the other person's is too. You're both kind of looking for an escape, maybe by suddenly needing to check your phone. Yeah, it's a pretty universal feeling of dread. But here's the good news. You are so not alone in this. Seriously, think about it. A work happy hour, a wedding, trying to make small talk with a cousin you haven't seen in 5 years. We've all been there. This is a shared human experience. Now, this brings us to a really powerful shift in thinking. So many of us tell ourselves a story, right? The old thought is something like, I'm just broken, or I'm antisocial, I'm just bad at this. But the new reality is so much more empowering. You're not broken, you're simply untrained. Think about it like this. Being a great conversationalist isn't some magical personality trait you're either born with or you're not. It's a skill. Just like learning to play the guitar or learning to cook, it's something that you can learn, you can practice, and you can absolutely get good at. Okay, so let's get into the practical stuff. How do you actually do this? Well, our first technique is all about the way you ask questions. It's not just about firing off any old question. It's about asking them with real intention. So let's play out a little scenario. Imagine that someone says this to you, a totally normal, simple statement. But what you say next, that's the fork in the road. It determines whether you hit a dead end or open up a real conversation. Okay, so the dead end is the one we're all guilty of. Oh, that's cool. And that's it. Conversation over. But instead, what if you open the door? You could ask, oh, nice, where do you usually play? Or how long have you been getting into that? You don't even have to know anything about golf. These questions just show you're paying attention and give them an easy way to keep talking. And here's the secret power behind this whole idea. When you're the one asking thoughtful, open-ended questions, you're actually the one guiding the conversation. You get to steer it towards interesting places and keep that forward momentum going. Now for our second technique, which builds right on top of the first one. And it might sound a little weird at first, but to be a better talker, you have to become a way better listener. I want you to really think about this quote for a second. It's so true, isn't it? So often, we're not really listening. We're just waiting for the other person to take a breath so we can jump in with our story or our opinion. We're reloading our own ammo instead of receiving what they're saying. And what we're aiming for instead is this idea of active listening. It means you are fully tuned in. You're trying to understand what they're saying, the feeling behind it. You're not just sitting there planning your next brilliant thing to say. Because here's the thing, when you actually listen, people will hand you everything you need. They'll drop little hints, little details, little passions, and those become the perfect fuel for your next intentional question. The conversation starts to write itself. Okay, let's move on to our third and final technique. This is the one that takes you from just having a conversation to actually building a real connection with someone. And it's all about finding common ground. And I love this part because it really does feel a bit like magic. The moment you find that thing, that one thing you both share, the entire dynamic of the conversation just changes. All the effort seems to melt away and it's replaced by genuine fun. So what are we looking for exactly? Well, it can be almost anything. It could be a shared interest, like a sports team or a band you both love. It could be a similar experience, like you've both traveled to the same city. It can even be something as simple as loving the same kind of food. It doesn't matter if it's big or small, as long as it's shared. And you'll feel it the second you find it. There's this immediate shift. The conversation stops feeling like a Q&A or an interview, and it just starts to feel like two people connecting. It becomes easy. It becomes natural. It becomes fun. Now, as we wrap this up, I want to give you a really important reality check. The goal here is not to become some perfect, flawless conversationalist who never has a quiet moment. That's just not realistic. You're still going to have pauses. There will still be moments of silence, but you can learn to reframe what those moments mean. A silence isn't a sign that you failed. It's just space. It's a breath in the conversation. And once you learn to get comfortable with it, it loses all of its scary power. Ultimately, all three of these techniques really boil down to practicing three simple mindsets. approaching people with genuine curiosity, having patience with the conversation and with yourself, and staying present in the moment instead of being stuck in your head. And if you take away only one single thing from this whole explainer, please let it be this idea. Stop putting so much pressure on yourself to be interesting. Stop trying to be witty or charming or funny. Instead, focus all of that energy on simply being genuinely interested in the person right in front of you. If you can do that, all the rest just kind of falls into place. So the only question left is, who are you going to try this on? Who will you decide to be genuinely interested in today?